Did you know that Disney had their own Star Wars before they had Star Wars? Welcome back, everyone. We're here to talk about The Black Hole from 1979. This is the movie that you, the people, made me watch. During my subathon, this was one of the rewards that we unlocked, was that we would do a watch-along of The Black Hole, and I would also do a review of The Black Hole. So we already did our watch-along over on my Discord, which if you have not checked out the Discord, maybe we'll put a link to it somewhere down in the comments if you would like to check it out. I also do regular watch-alongs over on my Patreon, which you can find at patreon.com/vampex13. So if you are interested in checking that out, please do. We do the monthly. You vote on what we watch, and then we watch it. For The Black Hole, though, this was a very interesting movie. I went into it not knowing quite what to expect. I had recalled that chat had said to me that The Black Hole is a movie from 1979, and it's basically Disney's version of Star Wars. That was really all I knew. I'd seen some GIFs. I'd heard a little bit about it. But I was not really prepared for what this movie was. It is a very interesting film that actually I think was quite well done. In fact, Disney had to come up with some new technology in terms of effects in order to even film this movie. It took them a while to film it, and I believe it was not a cheap endeavor at the time. The budget for the film was $20 million, and at the box office domestically, it made $35.8 million. So not as much of a box office success at Disney had hoped, but I think there's actually a lot here that's really great about it. For one, I love Vincent, the little droid who comes with us. We also even have kind of a weird version of the Force in Dr. Kate McCrae, who has ESP powers and can communicate telepathically with Vincent. They have this ESP link. And not only did we get one android in this movie, but we actually got two. We got Vincent and we got Bob. So what is the movie about? Well, for those of you that are not familiar with The Black Hole, it is Disney's response to Star Wars at the time. Star Wars: A New Hope had come out in 1977 and was a smash hit. And as a result of that, there were a lot of studios trying to make their own version of this film and do something that was a fun sci-fi action adventure movie, a fantasy sci-fi sort of film. And this movie, The Black Hole, I would say is more of a science fiction movie than it even is fantasy. It's really more of true science fiction. In it, we are introduced to our crew at the beginning of the film, who I gotta say, I appreciate that in their spaceship, they actually didn't necessarily have gravity on at all times, so they float around their ship. And when they're doing dialogue, they move those shoulders to signify, I'm still floating. We're still floating here. And while they are on their own mission, they encounter a ship that was lost 20 years ago, the USS Cygnus. And this ship has one of their scientists, Dr. Kate McCrae, her father on it. Now, of course, it went missing 20 years ago, so Dr. McCrae has not spoken to her father, and she would like to go check out the ship. But it is also close to a black hole that they see. So they decide, you know what, we can go in, we can check it out, we can do it really quickly, and the captain agrees to this. It doesn't come up in the movie until near the end, but it also seems that Captain Holland, who's played by Robert Forster, has some kind of relationship with Dr. McCrae, who's played by Yvette Mimieux. And that might be part of the reason why they're yeah, we're going to go close to a black hole. But basically what Captain Holland says is, we only have a little bit of time, so we got to get in and we got to get out. And when they get in, they find, surprisingly, that it's like they're in the eye of the storm. And the effects of the black hole cannot be felt. Everything feels neutral. It's very strange. So they go onto the USS Cygnus to explore and see what's up, because now they're clearly safe for some reason, even though they're really close to a black hole. During their investigation, they find Dr. Hans Reinhardt, who is a famed scientist played by Maximilian Schell. And he is immediately, to me, I was like, this guy is super evil and I do not trust him. He says Dr. McCrae's dad died and, they were going to turn back, but ultimately they decided to stay and explore the black hole. And so he's been studying the black hole all these 20 years, and he's got a crazy plan. He wants to go into the black hole. That's basically the premise for the movie. Of course, it is called The Black Hole, and it's all about this crazy doctor that wants to go inside the black hole, and this crew who kind of find this ship. It's got a bit of like almost a Twilight Zone kind of vibe to it. It's kind of like a science fiction comic, like one-off story where we just follow this crew into this mysterious ship that, by the way, has really weird tubes that take you across the massive ship that are tubes where you can see all of space around you, like a glass tube. I was immediately like, that is a terrible idea. And I feel like I would be so afraid that something would go wrong and I would just be sucked into the vacuum of space. Which, by the way, if you're ever wondering if I want to go to space, I'm good on Earth. I don't need to go. I think space is nice to look up to. We got enough to explore in the oceans here on Earth. I'll stay where I am. Thank you very much. I'll keep my feet on the ground. And case in point, later in the film, those tubes do end up getting busted and it does not go well. So if you're wondering if you should be afraid of them and you also had that reaction, you're right. As the crew get to know Reinhardt, he basically welcomes them onto his ship. He says, you know, I've been pretty lonely, so I'm excited to see some new people because everyone on my crew is a robot that I built. Because when your dad died, the rest of the crew died, and basically I'm like all that's left, and everyone else here is a robot. Now this is odd, because we later see that there's a full greenhouse on the ship that is fully stocked. So if you no longer have a crew, and it's all robots, why do you need that much food? And also, why these robots be limping around? What's up with that? And I immediately was suspicious of the robots, actually, because their face plates have holes in them. And I thought, well, wouldn't that be something that you would do if they were people and they needed to breathe? So I thought there must be something here where these people are no longer in control of their own willpower, and somehow he's turned them into robots or something horrific, maybe. And I called that early on, surprisingly, and I was correct. As we later find out that yes, Dr. Reinhardt, who seems super evil, is in fact super evil. And yes, he has converted the crew, which actually mutinied against him, and the mutiny was led by Dr. McCrae's father, no less. He converted them to robots, the ones that survived. So they're basically lobotomized humans who are somewhat robotic, who don't feel anything. It's really eerie. The whole idea of this, I was like, this is pretty horrific for this being, I don't know if this was supposed to be a family movie, but there's a lot of concepts in here that don't feel very family friendly. We're also introduced when we interact with Reinhardt for the first time to Maximilian, who is this very intimidating robot who has blender hands, and boy does he use them. Oh, you bet he uses them in this film. He uses them to kill Alex Durant, who's another doctor who is part of Captain Holland's crew. But that's not all that happens here. We get a really exciting shootout. We get the robot people attacking the crew as the ship ends up getting compromised after they find this all out and they're trying to escape. During that, the USS Cygnus becomes compromised and everything is starting to get sucked into the black hole. Reinhardt gets destroyed by a big Jumbotron TV that basically falls on him. And we get this crazy fight with the crew trying to escape while everyone's chasing them, and Vincent, my boy Vincent, and his pal Bob, because that's right, we get two robots in this that are friendly and that have a fun rapport. Sound like anything familiar? So we have Vincent and Bob working together to fight against Maximilian. It's a bot fight, one of my favorite things. Bob ends up sacrificing himself in the fight, and Vincent puts the final nail in the coffin and defeats Maximilian. The crew manages to get to safety. They get to the probe ship, and they are able to board it and get away safely while the USS Cygnus is like ripped to shreds. And we end with a very trippy sequence where they spin around in this probe ship and go through an angelic hallway through a white light and then emerge on the other side of the black hole where they are now in a totally different place with a new planet and a star on the horizon. And what happens to our villains? We still get to see what happens to them. They end up in a hellish landscape. I think it's just hell, where Reinhardt and Maximilian merge, and then they're just in this hell dimension with all of the drones around them kind of like worshiping them. And it's just very strange. But I did really enjoy it. I feel like the sets are really good. The effects in this are really good. So there's lots of cool practical things that they do in it that I thought looked really good. And I actually found the story and the mystery of the USS Cygnus to be super compelling. Even though I did guess at the beginning that Reinhardt was evil and that the people were drones, I feel like I only really guessed that because I watch a lot of sci-fi and I'm observant, I think. I had no idea that was coming. And I think for most people, that's probably a really fun twist. It was still really terrifying too when Durant goes over and pulls the mask off. I was like, don't pull that mask off. Don't you do it, man. I don't want to see that. And it wasn't as horrifying as I imagined it would be. The idea of it, of a person being converted into a robot, I think is always more horrifying than the reality. Like the Cybermen, you know? It's like the idea of what's happening scares me more than when I see a Cyberman because like they look goofy, you know? Even though I think Cybermen are great Doctor Who villains. If you're a fan of Doctor Who, if you're a fan of Star Wars, or if you're a fan of sci-fi, I think you'll genuinely enjoy this film. And I just think it was really well made, and the effects today that they used still hold up, even though this is a movie from 1979. So overall, I had a really fun time with it. I think the characters are really fun. I love Vincent. I love Bob. And I think that this is just a great film. Apparently, I learned when we were doing our watch along, they were going to do a sequel to this. And it was around the time that they were doing Tron Legacy. And they actually had John Spates, who did Prometheus, which I also really like, and I think also worked on the new Dune as well. He was going to be doing the script for the sequel to The Black Hole, but unfortunately, because Tron Legacy didn't do well, the plan got scrapped, and Spates actually said that the script that he was working on for this was one of the best scripts he's ever done. And I'm actually disappointed. I think Disney should just give us this sequel because I want to see it. I was actually like, I wonder what happens next, but that's all there was because it wasn't a super successful film. It wasn't Star Wars. And I mean, now Disney owns Star Wars, so what incentive will they ever have to make a sequel to The Black Hole? I don't know. But all I know is that if they released it, I would watch it. That's all I have for this one. Thank you so much for watching this review. I hope that you enjoyed it. To those of you that helped to unlock this reward in my August subathon, thank you for your patience, and I hope that you also enjoyed the review. It was a really fun one, so thank you for recommending it to me. That's all I have for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one, and until next time, friends, stay nerdy. Bye! And if you like when I talk about sci-fi, you need to check this out.